All right, family, back with another video. This is Segovia coming to you live from the man cave. We got an hour of some things that it just seems like what we're being told, y'all, isn't really what's going on. We're gonna get into that. Make sure you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
What would you say if I told you that someone prophesied both the things that happened yesterday in Vegas and New Orleans months before it even happened? Would you believe me? Well, you may remember this guy from what happened with the bullet in the ear, right? Well, he seemed to have said a lot more than just that, and it does appear that some of what he says happens. Let's watch this real quick and I'll be back.
We plead the blood of Jesus over Tennessee, over Nashville. Very interesting. Father, I thank you, Lord, that you're rising up. And Las Vegas. Over Las Vegas, Father, I just seen a glimpse of Vegas. Oh, are these all on the same day? I pray over Las Vegas, Lord. Oh, it is. I just seen a glimpse of New Orleans, Bourbon Street. It is an attack simultaneously when people are distracted. When people are distracted, they put that with drinking much.
That's absolutely wild. Now remember, this was New Orleans yesterday morning, right? Now he said something about Nashville, and I haven't seen anything in Nashville, but now I'm looking to Nashville. Of course, you know what happened in Las Vegas. Now it's so interesting, he said that they would all happen in the same day. Nashville didn't, but what's the possibility that he says both those things and they both happened in the same exact day? And remember, even he called that guy dropping to his knees when the bullet went by his ear? Now, disclaimer, I'm not saying that he's a legitimate prophet. I'm also saying he's not one. And I'm also saying there are prophets of Baal. With all that being said, I got God's permission to post this, and also God gave me the parable of the wheat and the tares. He said the wheat and the tares must grow together, both the good and the bad pertain to be good, and that they'll both be uprooted at the same exact time. Meaning this, there is many bad actors around us in the church preaching all over the place, prophets and whatever else. I'm not going to sit here and sit on a throne of pride and all-knowingness. I don't know who's who. But if he took the tares out now, he would uproot the wheat. But I can tell you this, the harvest is coming. The world's getting very dangerous, and the US is getting very dangerous. And by the way, on that note, look what they found in Virginia right behind me. Just read this, okay? The days that we live in are getting dangerous quickly. Make sure you test every spirit. Let me know what you think below.
See, a couple things. The drinking, that's kind of Vegas and New Orleans. What do you do when you go there? I've never been to New Orleans. When we go to Vegas, you drink, right? So that's kind of, but the thing that got me was when he said simultaneously at the same time, the same day, they're going to be distracted. I don't know, y'all. But something just, we got some good clips in today's good video today.
Posted up, midnight red-eye flight. Sarah Beans. No Matty B.
Trying not to be weird.
Not to be weird.
Not allowed to be weird or embarrass him. I can't do that.
We're on our way.
Power.
Ooh, that's just not a good girl.
Puerto Rico.
Power traveler.
Costa Rica, it's the same thing, same place, same people, same food,
No.
same island.
No, it's not the same as Costa Rica. It's actually very different, I believe. It's a different place.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. I got a question for you with that one right there. So what information did Elon give to the authorities?
The authorities are stating that they received the public security camera footage from the Tesla supercharger stations.
The public.
Yeah, this is well, it's private. It's private footage maintained by Tesla, but it's their own security cameras that monitor their charging stations.
And then what other information did the Tesla give to the authorities?
Apparently, he helped them unlock the car and also helped them with, I guess, who the registered owner
after the explosion,
or who rented it. Yeah,
after the explosion took place.
Did you guys know that yesterday, France, the UK, Germany, and the United States all had attacks on them? And every single attack was somebody in a vehicle driving that vehicle into large groups of people and then getting out of their vehicle and, you know, trying to also eliminate as many people as they can until they were shot, until they were taken down. So all of yesterday, I don't know if you guys heard that. And everything was exactly the same. Vehicles ran into large groups of people in order to try to take out as many people as humanly possible. Have you guys heard of sleeper cells before? I do know that the New Orleans incident in the United States and the Las Vegas incident, both of those gentlemen were in the same U.S. military brigade together. So we trained them. Sorry, my baby blowing raspberries. It's a sad time, guys. I was thinking, just make sure you guys are being the best people you can be. You know what I mean? Just be good people, right? This is crazy.
And he posted several videos to an online platform proclaiming his support for ISIS. In the first video, Jabbar explains he originally planned to harm his family and friends, but was concerned the news headlines would not focus on the, quote, war between the believers and the disbelievers, end quote. Additionally, he stated he had joined ISIS before this summer. He also provided a will and testament.
Every single time there's a terror attack, the first instinct of the security services is try and cover it up.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found.
It's definitely not terror. It's definitely not terror. Well, what about the ISIS flag attached to his car? I mean, you can't see it there because it was actually ironically covered up by security officials on the scene. You go, why try to hide it? Okay, we had a picture of the attacker very early. Why? Well, because he had a mugshot, didn't he? Which implies he's committed crimes before. Obviously, the usual types are tripping over themselves to say that he's some kind of all-American man next door. He's a US Army veteran, born and raised in Texas, isn't it? I mean, there can be no question that, checks notes, Shamsuddin Jabbar is as American as apple pie. We see it every time, don't we? The FBI put this out. There we are. So, look at this. An ISIS flag was located in the vehicle, and the FBI is working to determine the subject's potential associations and affiliations with terrorist organisations. Right. Do we not think that that investigation might take about 10 seconds? But anyway, he's killed 15 people. He's got an ISIS flag on the back of the car, but we couldn't possibly jump to conclusions, could we? Frankly, there's just no way of knowing, is there, what the true motives are here? I mean, the guy basically has "I'm a jihadi" tattooed on his forehead, but unfortunately, the bollards of peace that we have everywhere now, usually to protect us, of course, as we all know from radical Mormons, yeah? It's always the Mormons, isn't it? Those bollards of peace, they were under construction. So here, in a way, we now have two great failures of Western culture rolled into one. The fact that we have essentially cuckolded ourselves to radical Islam, but that we also never seem able to complete a basic infrastructure project. Here's the Islamist talking about himself in a video clip.
I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life. With the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch.
Look at that. You'd never know, would you? You'd never know, really. Apart from the fact that intelligence services might literally have known. And it appears that there's a network of jihadis now in the New Orleans area.
We do not believe that Jabbar was solely responsible. We are aggressively running down every lead, including those of his known associates.
So now they tell us, aren't you just sick and tired of everyone always tripping over themselves to try to do everything possible to avoid saying it's yet another radical Muslim?
Well, it's like the music business at one point in time was run entirely by gangsters.
Of course.
That's the story about Hendrix. You know, the story about Hendrix is that his manager killed him. That's the conspiracy, was that his manager killed him because it's more valuable for Hendrix to be dead. His music, he's a maestro, like a 1 in a billion year talent. And that they knew that they had all these recordings of him and they could kill him. And so that's why like, his girlfriend jumped off the top of a building. To own his shit. Because he was going to leave his management. His bodyguard wrote a book about it years later. And it just came out like, I want to say like 10 years ago. Wasn't that long ago. Whereas the bodyguard said, yeah, the manager killed him. Killed Hendrix and threw the girlfriend off a roof.
It's the U.S. Capitol building. Now, to get into a little bit of the attacks that happened, like, why hide the flag? Why tie that up before the cameras? You know, like, why hide that from the people? And, you know, when this was first unraveling, I was watching the news and they were saying he crossed out on Fox News, he crossed out of Eagle Pass, which puts that, you know, Biden's fault. And then on CNN, they're saying, you know, lifelong Texan, Army, a true American, kind of putting it on Trump. Like, it's just, it's too much. Nobody on the same page when it comes to the news. Like, who knows? Maybe that when he was talking on that clip, maybe that was AI. Maybe AI is so ahead that be more than we know. And that wasn't even legit, y'all. I don't know. But I just feel like we're being lied to about everything that's happened. We got another clip coming up talking about there was, you know, PVC pipe everywhere. You know what I'm saying? All over the city. Like, this was supposed to be this was supposed to do some damage, y'all, and it didn't. But it's kind of fishy. The Trump thing the next day at the Trump Tower, like, why would you do that in the morning when everyone's asleep upstairs, hungover? It with the Cybertruck and like all this subliminal things, like it just doesn't feel legit. Like, if you're gonna do it and you're gonna, you know, do what you're gonna do to yourself inside the truck. The day before that, a few hours before that, the Vegas Strip was popping. You know, like, it just doesn't make sense.
What did you think about the CIA documents claiming that the people who made the pyramids were huge humans from Mars, basically giants, millions of years ago?
So White done got his hair did.
They lying. Yeah, they lying. I don't believe that shit. Yeah, they lying. Y'all don't believe nothing the government tell us. I don't believe nothing the government tell us. Well,
and do you blame them? I mean, look, they tied up that specific region flag. They tied it up so we couldn't see it. Do you blame them for not believing anything they tell us? You know?
It's the CIA, nigga, nigga, I don't believe nothing that the government tell us. Because they hide information for so long. They don't want us to think them smart African Egyptian motherfuckers built that. Nigga, I'm betting on them Africans did that. Them Egyptians did that. Nigga, wasn't no alien did that. And they said,
I don't think they're saying there were aliens. I think they're saying that humans were living on Mars at the time. Aliens. And they needed a new place to stay, to live.
So they came to Earth.
And huge humans.
Wait, they're really saying
the pyramids?
Where they bones at?
Bones at? That looks crazy. Yeah, it looks crazy.
How dangerous are truly those jungles? Average man gets dropped in the jungle.
You're dead.
Really?
You're dead.
Really?
If you get dropped far enough into the jungle, you're dead.
What's killing you first?
You'll get lost. You get turned around in the Amazon. Everything looks the same. It's not like here where you have big trees and small trees and landmarks. In the Amazon, everything looks the same. And everything wants to eat you in there. I mean, even the bees are carnivorous in the Amazon.
What?
The bees were one of the worst torments for me. And I enjoyed being in the Amazon, by the way. I was there by choice. But mosquitoes were always a nuisance. The bees were worse because I would have like an open wound on my arm. And during the day, bees come. And the bees will land on your arm. And there are these little bees. And they will yank at your flesh. Like they'll bite off a piece and yank it off.
What?
So you constantly have bees pulling little pieces of your open wound away.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it was, and they also sting you. But the sting isn't really bad. They're like miniature.
Yeah, but when they're eating your flesh off, that sounds...
That drove me crazy. But everything wants to eat you in the Amazon.
Do you guys believe these people that come from the Amazon, like, and tell us all these crazy stories like that dude on Joe Rogan. Like, you get in the water and you feel all these insects and spiders crawling all over you, and like, do you believe that thing? I believe there's some animals, like bigger insects and stuff like that, but do you think it's really that bad? I know if you go out there, and you'll probably get turned around blink of an eye if you step out there. I'm sure the jungle is just alive, but do you believe all these crazy animals, and the second you step out, you're covered in insects and bugs? I think it's kind of over exaggerating. I do.
Hey, Eddie. Okay, so I just got off the phone with public information officer with the U.S. Capitol Police. He says this investigation outside of the Capitol is still very much underway. It's been going on since right before 10 o'clock, and we can now tell you that somebody is in custody. Somebody has been arrested on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol building this morning. In fact, I'm going to read the full statement that we got from Capitol Police right now. It says, before
another
10 a.m.,
vehicle.
our officers spotted a car that had been driving along the sidewalk near Pierce Circle and into the grassy area near 3rd Street Northwest and Constitution Avenue. Officers took the man in custody. They're still asking people to stay clear of this area. In fact, several roads are now closed. We have video showing the moment that arrest took place. We do not have information on who this suspect is. We just saw our News 4 cameras capturing the moment that they were handcuffed and put into the back of a U.S. Capitol Police cruiser. This happened just moments ago.
It's weird, right? It's weird. December 31st, cars start. Now, guess what? Cars are popping up, doing all these things. The orb is at the end of the year. Guess what? Drones are popping up everywhere. Now it's cars. Like, it's just it just seems fishy, y'all. Do you guys think, like, there's something big happening before Trump takes over? Do you think they're going to try to get us into a giant war that he has no choice but to, retaliate? And then boom, there's another 20-year war. Because people made a lot of money off that. A lot of money off of that. I don't know. I don't know if something big's gonna happen, or if it really is an organization that's in America and it's not government funded. It's like they're testing the waters right now. They're testing the waters with locals before they really, do what they're gonna do.
About to get dark. Katt Williams is dropping another interview with Shannon Sharp tomorrow. Check this out.
January 3rd, 2025 is right around the corner. And what happened on January 3rd? That was the first edition of Katt Williams when it released. I may have my popcorn ready.
The type of chaos that Katt Williams caused last year, bro, was insane. The amount of things he predicted that went exactly how he said they would go is insane, bro. Kendrick Lamar even referenced Katt Williams twice as his influence during the beef. Beat the Grams, he said, Katt Williams gave y'all the truth, so I'ma give mine. On Whacked Out Murals, he said, make Katt Williams and them proud. We don't know the type of chain reaction that this next Katt Williams interview is gonna cause, because the last one he did really set the tone for the entire year. And depending on what he's gonna say in this one, it will set the tone for the entire year this year as well, bro. I don't know, man. I'm kind of nervous, bro, because I think it's about
to be organic, though. That last time was organic.
You take a Teflon pan and you cook it and you heat it up and you have birds nearby, they will actually pass away because the fumes that come off that. Think about pans. You want to look for copper, carbon steel, or you can look for cast iron. Those are the three I would say. I would rank them in a way, but those are the three I would say. When you're cooking anything, you should not be using DuPont non-stick chemicals in your pan. It makes absolutely no sense.
I do.
The Teflon that they put in there from DuPont literally cooks into your food and causes. They actually said, check this: if you take a Teflon pan and you cook it and you heat it up and you have birds nearby, they will actually pass away because the fumes that come off that pan actually can harm and birds. So think about if you're eating something off of a Teflon pan. All this non-stick garbage that they keep trying to sell people, and non-stick this and non-stick that. The only reason they invented non-stick is because people aren't using tallow and butter anymore. That's it. So they created non-stick because they were like, oh, convenience. Here you go. Convenient chemicals right into your body. That's what it'll be. Sponsored by DuPont, who, when I started to research back into about 1856, is one of the sources of the first fires in San Francisco. DuPont.
Oh, it is so weird. I
if you can tell, but this is like some polar optical illusion.
It's like Denali is melting.
Sam Doug claimed he could levitate up to 2 feet in the air, a talent that seemed too wild to believe. But when he demonstrated it at a local talent show, floating effortlessly before a stunned crowd, the world took notice. Performing in 100 countries and 1,000 cities.
And I can do that
But
on
you
foam.
can wait. You can levitate from.
Well, it's called flying.
You can fly.
Yeah, not like a bird, but enough that your body.
You got off the ground.
Yeah, about 2 feet up. Well, when we did the world tour of this,
yeah,
they did 100 countries, and they did 1,000 cities.
Sam began to claim he wasn't just levitating anymore. He was learning to fly. By the end of the tour, Sam Doug wasn't just famous for walking Bob Dylan on stage. He had begun to unlock a power few could imagine, the ability to fly.
Grand halls of the United Nations. We took out 3 or 4 of the best flyers. We had them demonstrate.
So there are more people that could do this.
Oh yeah,
They did it
there's
at
millions.
the UN.
Bitch, they tried to blow us the fuck up last night. They tried to get the French Quarters off the fucking map last night. So far, they found 4 bombs in the French Quarter, 1 inside of the St. Louis Cathedral. They were all in ice chests. And the reason why the man went driving up Bourbon Street, killing all those people, is because the bomb detonator malfunctioned. It got to be like 5 or 6 of them, because they either blew up or set on fire the Airbnb where these niggas was staying at. They're not done. They're not fucking done. It's dawning on me right now that they tried to get us off the motherfucking map last night. They tried to get us the fuck out of here last night, y'all. New Orleans, like what the fuck? Now, why are we in it? Why are we in it?
I just made it scary.
I don't know if she was trying to make it about race, but that's just where the population. That's a big energy amount of people. That's a big New Orleans, New York, Chicago, Vegas, LA, right? That's one of the top ones, New Orleans. That's why.
Very foretelling discovery. So this right here just happened in the last 24 hours, 10 hours, I forget. But this is happening all over the place. Over the last few months, all kinds of sea life has been passing away. Just whales just washing one shore, and just so much fish just popping up out of nowhere. Like maybe something is throwing them off. We're about to look at that something right now. I came across this video just last night by Geomagnetic Earthwatch. And in this video, he's been tracking this, and he's showing all the sulfur dioxide all around the world right now. And all of his time doing this, he says he has never seen this. And that's really weird. You want to know why? One sure place to get sulfur dioxide is from volcanoes. Have you guys seen the headlines of volcanoes recently? Besides volcanoes going off all over the earth, y'all remember this massive warning as underwater volcano off the US West Coast is primed to erupt in 2025? By the way, California's getting a lot of earthquakes, huh? All of that sulfur dioxide is causing this all over the earth. Oh, and what's the Bible say again? Signs of vapor, blood, and smoke in the air and in the earth. And by the way, I'm using that as a parallel. Why? Researched first century.
Reschedule this appointment,
you let the victims down by not having an appropriate security plan.
Oh, that's not the correct. That's not correct. We would disagree with that. We had
It was
a
a plan
security
that allowed an attacker to drive into a crowd.
and I take exception to that, and I do not agree with that.
That has
We
to
had
be a failure.
plan. We do know that people have lost their lives, but if you're experienced with terrorism, you would not be asking that question.
Well, with respect, experience of terrorism surely requires appropriate security protection.
Had the opportunity over the years to interview, again, people who have worked at the test site at Groom Lake. One gentleman spent 12 of his 30 years in black programs at Groom Lake. When I asked him, I said, first of all, I said, do you believe in UFOs? And he looked at me with a straight face in one-on-one. He said, absolutely, positively, they do exist. I said, can you expand upon that? He said, no, I can't. About A year later, we were talking about, again, activities at Groom Lake. And I asked him, I said, you know, can you really tell me what's happening out there? He said, well, there's a lot of things that are going on there that I won't be able to tell you until the year 2025. But we have things in the Nevada desert that would make George Lucas envy.
The U.S. Pentagon has released its funding data, and it weirdly included a lot of money funded to Mr. Beast. Yeah, taxpayer money was poured to Mr. Beast to try to get kids to enlist in the military. So his videos like Battle Royales and I Got Hunted by the Military were most definitely funded by the Pentagon. Now, Gen Z had a 10-point decline in military favorability and enlistment at an all-time low. So the Pentagon decided to pour all the money in Mr. Beast and weirdly Guy Fieri. Yes, you heard me right. The CEO of Flavortown got millions of dollars from the Pentagon in order to get people to enlist in the military. Though the report says that this guy pretty much just gave the military a middle finger and said thanks for the money. Basically, they said that the military started to recognize that young people communicate and receive information from social media, though they weirdly could not put any money into TikTok. So that's why there's zero TikTok recruitment videos because of ByteDance. So theoretically now, when you are watching a Mr. Beast video, you could be watching U.S. government military propaganda to get you to enlist in the military. Let me know in the comments what you think of that.
So you mean to tell me that the same dude who blew up that Cybertruck outside the Trump Towers in Vegas knew the dude that drove into them people in New Orleans? Nah, yo, some shit ain't adding up, bro. Either the police try and cover up for something else, or it's some real shit going on, yo. I was talking to my mans earlier. He said this shit about to be like Assassin's Creed 2. Now, I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna go play that shit and find out and get back to y'all. This shit getting scary.
Y'all, watch this demon, y'all. This will be going on in the spiritual world for real.
That's right.
Watch
High
this.
school calculus.
She the one who can see the demon in the show called Evil on Netflix. Watch this.
No, I'm a sound recordist, but once I did have to use calculus. So I'm very proud of you.
Look at the slime. She see the demon now. I'm convinced this will be going on. They don't even know it's right there. Look.
I'm Amalia. Sister, remember the one that kept smoking in the bathroom?
This was going on for real, in real time, y'all.
Yes, Amalia, yes. Are you okay? David, could I see you for a second?
This was going on.
Yes. I hope you're not holding my smoking against me, sister. I don't smoke anymore.
No, Amalia.
There's actually one chemical in particular that destroys the whole reproductive system for both men and women, and it's called a phthalate. Phthalates are in all the fragrances. They're in our colognes, our perfumes, our plug-ins, air freshener in the Uber, and those phthalates are destroying our endocrine system.
How can we find out if that chemical is in something or not?
When it comes to our beauty products, there's apps out there to help us now. So Skin Deep is one of them. Think Dirty is another app that's been put out that you can just scan all your products and see how toxic it is. It gives you a rating. You want something that's under a 3. Anything over a 3, throw it out. That's a toxic ingredient. We have to start looking at everything in our environment with this toxic lens in mind, because we're now living in this.
Have you guys heard of Bob Lazar?
Yeah.
I 100% believe Bob Lazar's story. 100%.
I mean, he was talking about before it was
back in
even a thing.
Late 80s, early 90s. Lazar
Yeah.
came out to Georgia Knapp and worked at the S4 facility about 15 minutes south of Area 51. And Lazar was tasked to work on a particular craft. And he calls this craft the sports model, because there were several alien craft that were housed in this facility in the hangar bays, but some of them were in a state of ruin. They were non-functioning. They looked like they were crash retrievals. But this one was pristine, functioning, and he was specifically tasked to work on the reactor. But what's very interesting is that Lazar describes the interior of the craft as being designed
smooth,
for
right?
very diminutive people, right? Aliens.
Yeah.
No, we really haven't had in the United States ever. There's the Nashville guy who did the strange, blew himself up in the car early in the morning when no one was around. That's kind of it.
The AT&T building.
Yep. So we have not had a man walk up to a building with a on the United States. Americans don't understand this. Al-Qaeda knows this, right? So this is new and innovative, especially now. you don't have to walk upside of the building. You can walk in the building because of the advancement of the vest. The other thing is, in the United States, we haven't had Fideian attackers. You know what this is? I mean, you'll know when I explain it. If you fought in like, I don't know, Ramadi, Fallujah, you've seen these. So the concept is the terrorist fights to the death. So he's not exactly a suicide bomber, but he will fight till either all of us are dead or all of his people are dead, right? So this can go on for multiple days, like the plan was for Mumbai, for example. So we think it's going to be a swarming attack, right? Multiple different attacks at one time across multiple cities. We think there was just because some of the attackers went training and they have these vests, right? And then we think there's these Fideian attackers who will carry on until they're killed. The Fideian matters, right? I was watching, I want to say it was like 8 months ago.
Let me just rephrase that. So these guys are trained, and we already overlaid the video of their training, and they are going to fight until they're killed.
Yes.
There's no stopping them.
Exactly. And that matters, right?
I want you to pause, stop scrolling, but just look at this, okay? For the first time in 91 years, I would love to just talk about sports. But look at this. First time in 91 years. Okay, Bourbon Street, Canal Street, this is the site of the attack. It is, they said less than a mile. This looks barely even half a mile away. Okay, they're saying less than a mile. Look at the Superdome. Look at the Superdome. Okay, just take a look at this with all the carnage. It's a massive game. There's a crazy event that happened New Year's Eve. Obviously, this whole thing is what we're talking about. Like, I just can't imagine a game of this magnitude with the huge tragedy that happened. This is insanity. And I'm curious to know how, if you're in the city, how do you feel going to this game? You've traveled from all over. You've traveled from Notre Dame area. You've traveled from the Georgia fans all over. Huge game, starts at 4 o'clock. Let me know your thoughts.
Police have uncovered a startling connection between these two events. The man responsible for the Cybertruck explosion outside Trump International Hotel served at the same military base as the New Orleans terrorist, according to a new report. Law enforcement officers raided the home of a 37-year-old man identified as Matthew Livelsberger. The suspect served at the same base as Shamsuddin Jabbar, who fatally ran down 15 people in a rented car in New Orleans in the early hours of New Year's Day. The Tesla Cybertruck driver was the sole fatality, while 7 were injured. Authorities largely credit Musk's hulking truck with preventing further damage because it was able to contain much of the explosion. Charred fireworks, gas canisters, and camping fuel were found in the bed of the truck when authorities were finally able to put out the fire. Law enforcement sources have since revealed the cars used in both attacks were rented through Turo, and they were both EVs, prompting concerns they are linked. Officers have also considered the driver may have purposefully chosen to use a car owned by Musk to send a message, given Musk's newfound friendship with President-elect Donald Trump.
Now, I heard this guy was a Trump supporter. And he was a Green Beret. Usually, people that, when they do those mass events, they unalive themselves. That was a Green Beret, y'all. Like, that's the baddest of the bad. He probably could have done some damage out there in Vegas on the Strip. Like, why January 1st in the morning, when everyone's in their room, probably the people that were injured were probably like family people or the workers, the majority. But like, why? That's what's weird. Same rental company, same base, same brigade, Green Beret. I don't understand it. I really don't. It's weird. It's fishy.
Scott,
Trump supporter.
If I remember correctly, Scott told me that Al-Qaeda is basically predicting that the casualty count will be between 50 and 60,000 Americans dead. Am I wrong on that?
So I don't know the count that they're predicting. What I do know is Al-Qaeda trained and sent 1,000 attackers.
1,000 attackers. When did they come through?
So they finished training and they deployed them. Now, depending on how they come through, it could take different times, right? So the fastest I've seen an Afghan leave Afghanistan and get over the border illegally is about 3 weeks. Now, if you get a tourist visa and a Saudi's passport, he can fly the day after he gets his visa, right? So it depends, because they are fine getting people in however they can get them in, and they actually prefer legal immigration, as you can imagine, because they want basically the attackers to sit here and wait. If they're legal, they're not going to raise any alarm bells.
So wait a minute. I just want to clarify. You are 100% certain that there are 1,000 plus Al-Qaeda trained fighters within the United States borders?
Well, Al-Qaeda says they trained and deployed 1,000 for this attack. First off, I think there's more than 1,000 Al-Qaeda members in the United States. But for the Homeland attack, that number is based on what Al-Qaeda is saying. So they could exaggerate it. However, they did have about 1,400 in the Hamas attack. So the number is not off from what they did in the first round of attacks.
Even if it's 200, 1,000 if they're over exaggerated, even if it's 200, all in major cities, major metropolitan cities across the United States. And they're trained.
Airbnb he rented burnt
Stay
down.
on point, y'all,
Bomb
when you're out
squad
there with your
was
family.
Sent out. Fire was so big that houses near it almost burnt down. There's nothing left. The story is just not making any sense. It's going to continue to change and evolve, but this is where we're at. The latest, sourced by the Times, New York Post, Reuters. There you go. Not making it up. Should I add the word allegedly? Allegedly burned down to the ground as bomb squads were sent out. That was a joke.
The strangest thing that ever happened to me in my life, and that sort of thing, I landed at Orange County Airport, and I had a business there of land development, but I wanted to see somebody at the airport arena. It's a 5-star hotel across the street from the airport. And I walked across. It was a rather cold Wednesday morning, let's say. And I went up to the desk, and there was a nice-looking woman, about 30 years old, blonde hair and page boy cut, and she had kind of powdery skin. And I think that book was out, Women Are From Venus and Men Are From Mars. And I thought, boy, she looked like she's from Venus. And I went on and spoke to the lady behind the desk, and there was a cut glass bowl of apples, and I wanted one, but I wasn't a guest, and I was ashamed to get one. But when I turned around, I spoke to the pretty lady, and I said hello, and she said, hello, excuse me, sir. And I stopped. She said, I know you. And I laughed like I do, and I said, I don't believe I've ever met you. Do I know I'd remember? And so she said, no, and tears come out of her eyes. And she said, no, I know you. And I said, perhaps if so, I've forgotten. I'm sorry, but my name is Roger Reeves. And we shook hands. So she's flesh and blood. And she said, will you come across the lobby here with me? And I thought, this is strange. And we walked across together, and there was a large lobby, nobody there. And there was a little ensemble with leather sofas and a green hood and a little fire. And she sat down, and she says, just sit on the little thing. And she said, will you take both my hands and close your eyes and tell me what you see? Ooh, I get cold chills all over me when I tell this story. Wham! I'm in war. I'm in another dimension. I'm an officer, and I'm in a cage as big as this room, and it's all been from mining. It's a cave with rocks, and there's rough tables, there's lanterns. So it was maybe World War I. I don't know, World War II. And there I am with a hat on, like the cap, and I can't see my eyes, but I have a grease coat on, and I can see where the epaulets were. Any insignia I had, I was certainly an officer, had been taken off because those were snipers' targets. And I remember I had boots, and the thing came down, and I had a good look at it, and there was sandbags out the front of it, and there was a long row of them and some kind of metal across the top, and it was like 8 feet tall. And just outside the door of it there, a shell hit, and it was hit so hard to the sand almost looked like got in my eyes, and the cordite flew. I could smell it. It was all in my nose. And I walk there as it clears up, and there's a young soldier in that rubble. And I pick him up, and I'm walking on air, and I'm just taking one step at a time, and I'm saying, medic, medic, medic. And I look at the young soldier's face. He's dead. And it's the face of the woman that I'm holding hands with. And I have no memory of that day. From that, it was erased. Otherwise, I'd ask her, what is your name? Who are you?
Wow.
How did that happen? I'm 80 years old and never before or after anything so unbelievable happened to me.
That's incredible.
He did say she's from Venus, and like the book he read, felt like she wasn't from this planet, and then boom, that happened. His instincts, y'all. His third eye was talking to him.
شايف؟ يا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حسنا كعيان.
That's her.
حسنا.
That's her.
خذه تحت في باطن هذا البير. خذه.
We like to laugh over here, y'all.
Do you guys have any idea how insane the first 48 hours of 2025 has been? By this time, everyone knows about the New Orleans, Las Vegas, and New York attacks that were sadly carried out. Horrible. But do you also know that they found pipe in Virginia? There was a suspicious person driving around in Washington, D.C. that they stopped. They also had a threat in South Carolina that was thankfully stopped. And in Idaho, a man was just caught trying to put on a car by a railroad track. That seems like a lot of things in 48 hours. My little brain flags are going off with this. That is way too many fucking things. I do not like the feeling that I'm getting right now for what's to come in 2025. Something is making me feel like these are all connected somehow. What's your gut telling you?
Same thing. Has anyone tested this out? I mean, it's a simple test, right? See, I put this little clip on there. Minutes later, my wife said she didn't feel safe and was worried about someone doing something to the crowd. We left right then instead of partying. We walked over the barricades on the way to the truck. New Orleans failed its tourists. Like, it's crazy how people get those instincts. You get the vibe. There's a vibe in the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. There's a vibe out there, and some people, I don't know if everyone, no, obviously everyone didn't feel it, or there'd be a bunch of people leaving, but some people, they just get that intuition, y'all, and they can feel it. I've had situations like that where I've had my intuition speak to me, or I just feel a vibe like something's off here. Like, let's get out of here. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy when I saw this little 5-second clip pop up.
Happy New Year! Biggie has some of the most out-of-pocket lyrics of any rapper ever. And hopefully there will never be a rapper with worse lyrics. Gay lines like, I don't care how good a woman looks, I would never give fellatio to her father because she's so beautiful. Liquor be digging me in my asshole. Undercover, Donnie Brasco. He said, I fuck with niggas who kill. Fuck them in the ass, throw them over a bridge. And in the beginning of the warning video, and in the warning video, the Transformer is in the bed with Biggie. And then LL's lyrics, he says, he, she, blotitious, Stevie, delicious. Give me couscous. Love me good. Damn, from Hollis to Hollywood. But is he good? Papa love it when he does it.
It's crazy, dog. That's crazy.
It's all for you. Something about let your Timbs tap or some shit.
Do you guys remember when 9/11 hit, how we found out that when we found out that the terrorists that flew the planes into the trade centers had been training as pilots and had taken all these courses so that they could, carry out said attack? Do you remember that? So now we're learning that 2 of the attacks that have happened in the last 24 hours are by people that were training in our army.
Crazy.
For some of them for a really long time, like 20 years. Here's the thing. Americans are lazy by nature because we have a lot of amenities that are easily obtained. A lot of us don't have a strong enough faith that drives our everyday. But I'm going to tell you something about other people, other countries, other faiths. They're very dedicated. They will go to great lengths to make sure that their plans are carried out. Some of them give their lives,
True.
Right? Like they'll drive cars full of bombs, give their lives, drive planes straight into buildings, give their lives. So what makes you think that there aren't thousands of them that have been training in our armies, in our military, to learn our ways? I didn't have this on my bingo card. I didn't have this one on my bingo card. I don't think it's a coincidence, and I think stay prayed up.
See, they say he loved Trump and the army. His family's like, where did this come from? To get unless maybe he was upset he teamed up with Elon Musk. I don't know, but it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make, like I said before, he's a Green Beret. This guy could have, do you think these little street cops, Vegas Metro, are going to be able to hang with this dude? Eventually, yeah, more overpowered, but he's going to do some damage. Like, he's a Green Beret. It's the day after, not even the night of. Like, can you imagine at 12 o'clock how packed the front of that casino Trump Tower would have been? At midnight, 1 o'clock? Everyone's going back to the room, whatever, to the casino. Like, it doesn't make sense. And he's just trying to make a statement, I guess? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down below.
One of the most powerful discoveries of modern ages, this only goes back, 50 to 100 years. People used to think that the universe was eternal. It always existed. But now we know from a series of scientific discoveries and philosophical arguments from the last century or so that the universe had a beginning in the past. At some point in the past, the universe began to exist. In fact, the great cosmologist Alexander Vilenkin, him and 2 other cosmologists, cosmology just means the study of the origin of the universe, came up with a theorem that says that even if our universe turns out to be one small part of a multiverse, the multiverse itself must have had a beginning. So what does that mean, that the universe had a beginning? Well, it harkens back to an argument for the existence of God that's been popularized by my friend, a philosopher, Dr. William Lane Craig. It goes like this. Whatever begins to exist has a cause. We now know that the universe began to exist. Therefore, the universe has a cause behind it. Well, what kind of a cause can bring a universe into existence? Well, it must be transcendent, which means apart from creation. It must be immaterial or spirit because it existed before the physical world. It must be timeless or eternal because it existed before physical time came into being. It must be powerful given the immensity of the creation event. It must be smart given the incredible precision of the creation event. It must be personal because they had to make the decision to create. must be caring because he's so carefully crafted a habitat that we could exist in. And the scientific principle of Occam's razor tells us there would be just one creator. So that's a description of the God of the Bible right there. Transcendent, immaterial or spirit, eternal, powerful, smart, personal, caring. It's a description of the God of the Bible. That discovery of the universe having a beginning, I think, is probably the single strongest argument from science that God must exist.
Listen to this engine. Separating from the ground, the aircraft. Now listen to the captain.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Cohn. I understand some of you may have been startled by that banging noise that just occurred. What happened is some static electricity built up on the airplane and it discharged. As we were climbing through the clouds.
Go watch my videos. You understand better. This is a microcosm of what I'm talking about. A charged atmosphere.
Generates some static electricity.
It's really strangely foggy in Southwest Florida. I want you to see what happens. This is not fog. Let me zoom out real quick. This is in Southwest Florida. It's not snowing here, folks. It's not raining at all. You can see my feet are dry. There is no water on this pavement. We're good.
Breathing that in, it looks like.
Okay, dry. And it is basically snowing out here with this fog. This is not normal.
I just realized why the Pope was nervous when these doors was opening. This face y'all see, this nervousness is for this person right here. That person is not human, y'all. That is not a human. I'm finna show y'all why that wasn't a human. Look at Buddy head. Look at the head. It got the George Jefferson going on, but we not talking about that. This thing do not have any ears, bruh. What the fuck is that? Somebody tell me, what the fuck is that? Here, it's more zoomed in. Where is the ears on Buddy? That thing is all straight head. You cannot tell me that's a human. You know what this remind me of? Do y'all remember the two tall men in black that look unhuman-like? That's what he remind me of. I need y'all thoughts down below in the comments. What the hell is that?
Hey, behave. This is a pack of hamburger meat we bought. Not open. No cuts. Completely sealed. Something feels hard in there. We just want to check.
I just fed my dogs that type of ground beef. It was good in mine. On 3/2025. I was gonna see if the expiration date was off. Yeah, that's disgusting.
See what it was. What?
I'm going straight back to Walmart with that.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't get why people always touch the thing. That's disgusting.
Very hard.
Like, put a glove on. Even when I'm dealing with raw meat, I put a glove on. Guess what? They're free at Walmart. Don't ask me how I do it. I just get them for free. Look at this dude digging all in that. It's disgusting.
What the hell is that?
Or just wiped his hands on a hand towel too after that. That's nasty. He washed them. No soap though, but he washed them.
Wokeness is a disease of the mind and a constipation of the intellect. Now, let me tell y'all about the Washington football team, who used to be known as the Washington Redskins. Now, the Redskins, along with many other NFL teams, felt the need to go woke. Well, they were forced, bullied, coerced into wokeness after this guy took a knee, and then everybody else is like, okay, we're all going to take a knee because, you know, though we're paid millions of dollars to tackle each other and throw a football around, we are oppressed. So that happens, and one of the teams that is a victim to this woke mind virus is the Washington Redskins. And so what do they decide to do? In all of the hoopla, they decide to change not only their name, but also their mascot, as you can see here, a Native American fella, and they eradicate the entire thing. Now, the thing that really got me is how they never checked in with the family of the man who is represented in this image. As a matter of fact, a little bit down the road, you find the very family of this man coming out in protest against the Washington football team for changing the damn mascot and taking away the representation that they saw as an honor, as a family, and as a people. This, folks, is the selective outrage of this woke insanity. They will be offended on your behalf. They will take measures that you did not ask for. And once those things happen,
it's true.
Oops. Bring the Redskins back. Bring the Redskins. Not just for my sake, but for the damn family's sake, if anybody.
So I've climbed the Great Pyramid 5 times.
What?
And 2 of those climbs were legal. Santa and I together found at the top of the Great Pyramid on the south side overlooking what used to be the Boat Museum. On one step down from the top, we found the name P, initial P, Hancock, 5th of April, 1916. Well, my grandfather was Philip Hancock.
No.
Yes, and he was in Egypt. He was in Egypt during the First World War.
Are you serious?
But I still couldn't be 100% sure it was him. And at that time, my dad was still alive, and he had my grandfather's diaries, which were little things, little diaries, dozens of them. And I went through to the date given, and I opened that page, and I saw just one line, and it said, "Climbed Great Pyramid today."
No way! Oh my God. That's crazy.
You're going through and writing your initials in something that's been around, like, you know what I mean? Ruining artifacts, and or do I sound like a hater over there? You know, he's happy.
That was my granddad.
Show must continue.
Hey, don't let this one go over your head.
So you're related to Angelina Jolie. You're also cousins with Madonna.
That's true.
So, and I'm related to Madonna and Halle Berry.
Related, in fact, to Abraham Lincoln. Your family is that true?
Nancy Hanks was Abraham Lincoln's mother, so yeah.
Barack Obama and Sarah Palin are cousins, back to one Mr. Smith of the 1600s.
Like related, for real?
Yes.
What's the connect?
We're second or third cousins. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
You are related to Fred Rogers.
Impossible. No, you're pulling our leg.
All right.
Let's look at that.
How far away is it?
Wait, look at it.
I know, yeah, I'm never.
Oprah tried to say that you two are somehow, some way related.
Yeah, she said she actually researched it and found it to be true.
And that's all.
Some kind of Presley with a Winfrey hooked up somewhere along the line in the South. You know how it goes.
Cousin Oprah.
That's right.
And that President Obama is related to all but one U.S. president.
Well, Dan, the youngster spent the summer tracing the family tree of our presidents. Her conclusion that
I have seen a UFO. Freaked me out. Details, please.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you made it this far, be sure to leave a thumbs up, y'all. Hit that subscribe button. We do daily uploads over here. Big news. Got some big news today. Had a big doctor's appointment today. 2 more doctor's appointments after this. But we found out we are going to be inducing labor on the 19th at 11:45. So we're going to call it on the 20th on the Monday. Little baby Anthony should be here January 20th, right? Maybe the 21st, we'll see. But yeah, baby boy's on his way, y'all. We're ready. Everything's put together. We got everything. We don't need nothing. We just got to start stocking up on some diapers. But other than that, you know, we're ready for our baby to come join us and come join the CaveFam, y'all. So you gotta leave a thumbs up for that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. If you made it this far, y'all know what to do. I gotta get out of here, y'all. I gotta go I gotta edit the video. I gotta upload it. I gotta go get a hike in. I had a late reaction today. If you can't tell, we got the lights over here. That's what that means. Segovia's been slacking today. So whenever you see these lights on my head, the sun, Segovia's been slacking. So I gotta get out of here, y'all. I got some things to do. See you guys tomorrow on the next one. Later.